Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, only a tiny bit of ear destruction going on there. We are going to be getting into this next series, guys. It is going to be spawning up here in the top left, in the red, representing all of America, and flip side, possibly still, it is Mcanning. And down here in the bottom right, in the teal, representing Lost in Translation Esports, it is PracticeX. All right, going to be a pretty sick series here, guys. Both these guys very talented players. PracticeX I haven't seen play before, but I've heard a lot of good things. Mcanning going to go ahead and just make his way across the map. And PracticeX open double refinery actually here. A little bit unorthodox. Gonna see what he decides to do with it. Mcanning making his way down. We'll spot if this is happening. Gonna see what his reaction is gonna be here. Because it could mean a few things. Actually, he might not actually get inside the base. If he's able to block that off, then he might not even be able to spot it, but looks like he will be able to as soon as he decides to. And looks like there he goes. Decides to get in there. Nexus coming down here for Mcanning on the other side of the map. Gets the spray down as well. Well done. And now Factory on the way. Going to be able to pump out a lot of units much quicker than usual. Nice little spray over here. Bob toss. And, both these guys, just really, other than the double refinery, nothing too unorthodox here. We could be seeing some heavy Cyclone plays. I've heard that he is a fan of cheese now and again, so he could be going for that. We could be seeing early Starport into Banshees. We'll see kind of how this plays out. Meanwhile, on the side, getting a Robo facility here. So we'll have an observer available to him if it does end up being those cloaked Banshees. Doesn't look like it though, based on the reactor coming down over here. Widow Mine on the way now. And up here, Widow Mine, the Reaper Mine, going to try and force him back. Not quite able to. The Reaper will escape with his life, just barely. Down here, Widow Mine and a Starport on the way. Starport going to be finishing up here in just a bit. Widow Mine going to burrow right at the top of this ramp. Going to be ready to catch anything that comes up. And down here in the bottom left, Reaper just chilling, recovering his life. Zealot making his way across. Passing over this Widow Mine, not quite going to be able to get a shot off, adding on a few more gates. Tech Lab on the way here, attached to this factory. Might switch it over here. Looks like he's just going to go into siege tank production instead. Zealot over here, checking out the base over here. Nothing, not going to find anything though. Shield battery coming down at the front just for safety as an Immortal is on the way. Warp gate almost finishing up here for our Protoss. Ooh, and now these Marines getting nice little shots off there, taking down his shield, telling him, "You're not welcome here, sir. Please vacate the premises." And no expansion coming down here, so whatever it is that he has planned here for PracticeX, he is committed to it right now. Raven on the way, as well as a few more tanks here, and really just ramping up army production very quickly here. Mcanning matching on the other side in a pretty decent spot. Widow Mine gets 3 hits there. Drop, otherwise not able to get too much done. Is just going to go ahead and reposition as Mcanning is just going to look to continue saturating his natural. Going to go ahead and replace those 3 lost workers. He is 1 worker down right now. Drop making his way back home. As the Stalkers staying over here just to make sure nothing can get in. And now here comes the train from PracticeX. Going to be starting making his way across the map. Going to regroup there for a second, of course. You have to. very important to move in a clump when you're going for an all-in attack like this. We're preparing the SCV that's going to repair the tanks. And now this army from Mcanning moving out, actually. Might be able to catch this before it's able to siege up. That would be disastrous for Combat X here. PracticeX. Kills one SCV already. So that is very good here for Mcanning here. The more SCVs that die there, of course, the less repairs it's going to be. And Mcanning going to be trying to catch this army out whenever it's crossing around. And 2 tanks sieging up. Not quite able to get any shots off, though. Bunker getting built here just outside of the natural. As more tanks are on the way. Shades coming out just to apply a little bit of pressure here. These Widow Mines are poised and ready to strike. 34 armor supply to 43. Now increasing due to Warpins. Got a Cyclone on the way here for PracticeX. Gonna see... Let's see how this goes here. Building more bunkers. Just kind of inching up. Inch by inch here. And looks like he is lifting up the tanks just to get them a little bit closer. Liberator moving in now to try and deny some vision. And now here comes the little bit more aggressive posturing now. Building more bunkers right inside that range of Liberation. Immortal went a little far forward there. Sentry died for his sins. Ooh, those 2 SCVs almost getting picked off, but not quite. More tanks coming around the high ground. And the Cyclone has arrived as well. It's going to be a pretty tough hold here for Mcanning. With the Liberation Zones, it's going to be very difficult. And the Immortals immediately getting silenced here. Tanks barely surviving. Oh my goodness. Tanks, both those tanks to die. This push would be very different right now, but they are both still up. Shield battery forced to refill all these shields, and now it's going to be back to another fight. Tanks coming across, still firing off across the bow here. Going to be seeing what they can get done. And Mcanning has been relegated to the backside of his natural here. Trying to figure out what his next move can be. But without those tanks dying, it's a very hard push to make, especially with his army as clumped up as it is. Immortals has to get their passives back. These Adepts are going to have to shade in and go on top of it. And looks like he might commit to this one here, moving his army forward now at the same time. And he does commit. Tanks firing onto other tanks. But the mute going on to that Immortal, very helpful now. The Liberators are standing strong, and the Marines not even touched here. 4 Immortals still alive here, which is nothing to sniff at. More Warpins coming across now, but it's just not going to be quite enough here. The Liberator's standing strong. Stalker's starting to work on it. Oh, and the Immortals walk way too far forward. Tanks are going to go ahead and punish that very hard. Almost dying here. Loses 2 of the 4. More and more units coming across now. And it is looking like GG here for Mcanning. Immortal and a Zealot chasing down that tank. Natural is going to die here. It is 56 army supply to 24. Very nice execution of this build order here from PracticeX. Just really caught Mcanning off guard. And now more Marines coming up, and that is going to be it. GG. PracticeX takes game number 1 against Mcanning. In this best of 3 series, GG, well played to him. Very nice execution there, nice and clean. And, you know, Mcanning just didn't quite recognize it in time, and then he got that set up right outside the natural. Those 2 tanks didn't die on that first push out, and it really just kind of sealed the deal for him. Not able to have enough to push it back once those tanks were in position. Well played there by PracticeX. And now, just going to be waiting for an invite for this next game. We'll be right back. Alrighty, heading into this next game, game number 2 of Mcanning versus PracticeX. Down here in the bottom left, in the red, representing Flipside and former representer, I guess, is that a word, of all of North America in Nation Wars, it is Mcanning. And then up here in the top right in the blue, representing Lots of Translation Esports, it is PracticeX. PracticeX going to be looking to carry the momentum from that first game to seal the deal here, 1 game away from facing off against Rob / I think Tesla for a chance for getting 1 step closer to qualify for WCS Challenger. Both these guys on their final life. Once they lose, then it will be all done for them. Standard opening this time. Doesn't look like a second refinery going to be taken as of yet. Meanwhile, on the side, just very standard stuff as well. Looks like might be a little bit faster scout from PracticeX. But looks like he isn't really expecting any cheese or anything like that either. And SCV does get the spray down once again. Well done. Really mechanically difficult to do that. SCV making his way down. Marine on the way. No Reaper this time. Just going to be keeping it nice and safe. Going to go ahead and get his expansion. Mcanning not quite able to get the cancel. And no full wall just yet. Doesn't really need to. Looks like he will be getting his factory now. Cybernetics core almost finishing up here. As this SCV down here, just making sure he knows what's up. Might be able to spot the tech, depending on the timing here for Mcanning. Looks like he has far enough to wait for that pesky SCV to die. Command center still on the way here. Factory looks like a reactor. It's going to be the choice once again here for PracticeX. Warp gate on the way as well. Not really too much going on in the early stages of this game. Doesn't look like either player going for anything super aggressive just yet. Factory finished up now. Looks like it's going to go ahead and make the switch. Possibly getting some Widow Mines once again. Maybe Cyclones. We'll have to see what he decides to go for here. Looks like it is going to be Cyclones this time. 2 at a time. On the other side, robotics utility and a shield battery on the way. Taking out these Pexy rocks once again. And yeah, just going to be waiting for all this stuff to finish up here. And just going to go ahead and finish getting the rest of his units going on here. Looks like these Cyclones are going to start making their way across the map with 4 SCVs now. These Marines going to be backing them up. And now we are on the way over here. It's going to be a very nice engagement coming up. PracticeX looking to put a little bit of pressure on earlier in this game on Mcanning. Alright, and the Observer has come across now, does see what's going on here. Mcanning immediately starting an Immortal in production now, starting to get a few more units out here. Soccer should be able to trade pretty well here with as long as the shield battery stays up. Going to be looking to pick off some of these SCVs, possibly deciding not to. And now, just going to go ahead and take a third or fourth gas. Going to go ahead and back off here for PracticeX. Adding on some tanks, getting stim. Just going to go ahead and get set up in order to be in a good spot to transition into the mid-game. Alright, and Robotics Bay on the way now. Looks like he's going to be going possibly for Disruptors like he did in the past games. It always scares me whenever I see TV Ham clipping something. Makes me nervous. Got +1 weapons on the way now for our Terran player. Adding on a few more gates back at home for Mcanning. Just making sure he's in a very nice spot. Colossi is going to be the choice here for Mcanning. Going to be in a nice spot to deal with any bio. Looks like PracticeX is going for a little bit more mechanical heavy than I'm sure Mcanning would like, but the Colossi still give him very nice options over here. As we wait to see who's going to blink first here, who's going to make the first move. Hellions coming across here to block the third base positions. No third base over for PracticeX either. As reactors getting added on here. Thermal Lance on the way as well. First Colossi gonna pop out here. I'm sure a second one to follow. There it is. And this probe gonna come up here and get toasted. And the Zealot gonna come up and get toasted as well if it's not careful. Observer keeping an eye on everything over here. No drops or anything coming out from... no observers coming out. No medevacs coming out. No drops for PracticeX here. No, and Marine's gonna come over here and fight with this Zealot. Mcanning Zealot gonna go head to head there and does take the win. Well done. 2 medevacs on the way now. And it looks like he's gonna start ramping up his bioproduction a little bit here, getting combat shields and +1 finishing up here in just a second. Disruptor is now gonna start being made here. Gonna go ahead and enhance this army a bit. Going to make his splash damage very effective against any bio. We saw how effective he was with it against in the last series against the Riddler. Marine going to come up here, try and spot anything. Probe crosses the Marine there. Just going to keep hold of that Zelnaga. PracticeX is going to know the third base is here and might try and push out. They are about even on army supply right now. Marine keeping an eye on everything. Cyclone holding down the middle of the map. Ooh, stims for it. That's just mean. Now Cyclone making his way across the map. Looks like he might have F2'd there. All of the army kind of moving at the same time. And Cyclone is going to die a horrible death here. Oh, and the rest of his army not quite sieged up yet. Okay, does get the siege off. Well done. Not sieging up all of them. Now he will be able to move the battle lines forward at his own leisure. Once those tanks are sieged, then it won't be, won't be able to push in here for Mcanning unless he does it very carefully. And Mcanning, of course, very aware of this, backs off. This Adept's going to die up here, but this does mean he knows where the army is. And so does PracticeX, both of them doing a very nice job of keeping vision across the map. The rocks in the middle here are going to get taken down as +1 weapons is setting up for Mcanning. Could get a very nice disruptor shot here. Oh, the disruptor's coming out. Huge hit. Takes down 2 tanks. So the tanks are now getting focused down by these Colossi. Very poor engagement there for PracticeX. He gets torn apart there. Now his army's on the run. Going to be forced to retreat here. Looks like he might be going to try for a drop in the main in order to force a recall here. Mcanning knows this is happening. He's getting a shield battery and warping inside of his main. And now is moving across the map now. Liberator's getting taken out. And Mcanning on the warpath here, going to be heading for this natural ramp. Does not have Blink available, but does have Adept Shades. Once those come through, he is going to commit here and take out everything. This army does not stand a chance. Meanwhile, on the main base, drop comes down. Not enough Stalkers here to really deal with this. And it is looking like a full base trade right now. 17 workers are dying. They tried to go up against the Colossi, and the Colossi unfortunately won. 15 workers down now, 16 for Mcanning. And it looks like Mcanning is fully committed to this. Notes that if he recalls, he risks dying. Tank going to go down here at the top. Not going to be able to really do much here. And the Liberator will die as well. And it is just a full base trade right now. Workers getting pulled on both sides. Disruptor got a pretty decent hit there by the looks, but not quite able to finish the deal. These Marines doing all they can to finish the job as the more and more workers are dying on the other side of the map. 32 and 33 respectively. And now this is looking like GG here for Mcanning. 51 armor supply to 17. These Marines still alive over here. GG is called. And we'll be heading into a game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, of Mcanning versus PracticeX. Yeah, that one engagement there for PracticeX really sealed the deal for him. If he had, he needed to respect the disruptor damage. He got caught on that ramp. He was super boxed in there, and the disruptors just got very nice hits off. And really just, from that point on, there was really nothing he could do. Just got pushed across the map, didn't have the production, and wasn't really able to make anything happen. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the WCS NA Challenger qualifiers. If you like the stream, feel free to give it a follow. If you have Twitch Prime, feel free to see if you have a free sub available. It really helps me out. Maybe one day I can quit my taco stand joint and go and, cast full-time, go move to Korea, cast GSL. Of course, you don't have to. But I do appreciate everyone who has. Thank you so much. Thank you all for the hosts and the support and the follows. Really appreciated it. I think Goliath wanted to be in here. All right, we'll be getting into game number 3 here in just a second. Thanks for watching, guys. Alrighty, here we go. Finally going to be getting into game number 3 here of Mcanning versus PracticeX. It's going to be on Acid Plant LE. Should be a pretty fantastic match here, guys. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your daddy. Get them all in here. This is going to decide. We're on track to find out who is going to qualify here. Should be pretty freaking exciting, guys. This is some of the top level of StarCraft in North America right now. Down here in the bottom right, in the red, representing Flipside and North America team captain, USA team captain, I should say, it is Mcanning. And then up here in the top left, in the blue, representing Lost in Translation Esports, it is PracticeX. Alright, have to see if PracticeX goes for another build order attack, just like he did previously. In game number 1. Very strong little all-in he did there. Looks like he is going to be pulling something cheeky out here. Going to be getting a barracks up here. We saw this in game number 1, transferred it into a tank contain setup in the equivalent of this location, and just really made it difficult for Mcanning to push out, and was able to take the win. Game number 2, we saw Mcanning just have a little bit better map awareness, take the win off of 1 engage there. Have to see if when this is spotted and how Mcanning is going to respond. Curious if this is the same build as game number 1, or if it's something a little bit different. We'll have to find out. Have to wait and see, I guess. Double refinery looks pretty much the same so far. No factory coming down just yet. Looks like he is getting a tech lab this time, as well as adding on the factory over here, proxied as well. And Mcanning looks like he will be able to spot this here, maybe actually. We'll have to see. See if he's actually sees it. He doesn't. He does not see the proxies here. That probe goes right by it. Didn't quite route that low enough. And now the probe is running for his life. Concussive shells on the way now. It looks like it's going to be a Marauder all-in. Should be pretty sick. And now we are going to have to see if he's able to hold this. I mean, he only has the 1 gateway, not adding on anymore. Not getting a shield battery either. He doesn't quite realize what's going on yet. Adding on a robotics facility immediately. That'll help once he's able to get Immortals out. See what he produces from here. Looks like it is going to be Cyclone, so a Cyclone Marauder all in here is going to be pretty deadly. And now, gonna see what he's able to do with this. Not quite ready to attack just yet. PracticeX might be looking to build a bunker on the low ground, or just run in and try and see what's going on and not really get much. Another, now a starport getting proxied over here as well. PracticeX just fully committed to this right now. Probe almost killing that one at the front there. Would have been pretty annoying. Now, looks like he is swapping over the factory to the tech lab, and over here getting reactor on his barracks. And so, looks like it will be siege tank production coming out here in just a second. Scans the main, has full awareness of what's going on here for Mcanning, what he has available. Mcanning is going to decide and get a tank, an Immortal out, which will help a lot against this. Now we got a bunker on the way here at the front, just to try and make sure it stays safe. Mcanning is a little bit lost as to where this pack is coming from, just because of that little bit of a miss rally there at the start. And now Mcanning heading up here again. He will spot it this time because they are building up here in the middle. So he decides to cancel that bunker. Didn't quite like it enough. Now he knows there's cluster shells now, and he knows kind of a little bit of the composition here. Doesn't know that there are tanks. Doesn't know that there'll be medevacs with this. This is a very scary push. But army supply is even. Mcanning set up very well at the top of this map. Going to need a little bit more stalkers to deal with that medevac. And he is going to be trying to push out here, make sure no bunkers get established on his low ground. As PracticeX moving in here, Cyclone and tank, supported by these SCVs, going to be moving down. That's a little greedy to try and get that expansion right now. I don't think he quite realized how much danger he was in. And he should be should be canceled. I don't think he can really hold this against this force. He might try to, though. Is moving out here now, but the tank's already set up. Medevac, yeah, he shouldn't be. I don't think he'll be able to hold this expansion. He's going to go ahead and cancel that and back off to the high ground where he knows he can hold. Shades go out here, going to try and get on top of that tank if he can. Might commit, and he will actually commit here. Commits on top of there, the tank not be able to fire upon, but the two Immortals moving forward here. The first bunker does finish, so the second tank did lots of shots off on the Immortal, taking it down to half health now, and he's forced to warp in more on the high ground. Mcanning needs to be very careful with how he takes these engagements. More shades coming out. Looks like they might go straight for that tank in the back, and he might engage on the front once again here. It looks like that is indeed what he's going to do. Takes down the Cyclone now, takes down the SCV almost, and the bunker now getting focused down by two Immortals. One Immortal does fall. Not great here. The second Immortal not firing at what he wants to. Warping into more on the high ground now, and the second Immortal is now out, and now he's doing all that he can to go ahead and hold this off. Two bunkers are up, and the Liberator is now alive. Going to come around this left side so he can have his Stalkers take this Liberator down. Really great positioning here by PracticeX, making sure that that Liberator stays safe. Very annoying hold here for Mcanning. Going to need to make a few more rounds of warp-ins as he continues this Immortal production. Tanks on the way, and more Marines getting added on. Bunkers completely filled up here. Oh, and from the high ground, actually, that's very good. Does take down one bunker. Great work there from Mcanning. That's huge. That is what he needs. Meanwhile, on the main, there's an observer just keeping an eye on it, making sure that wasn't a drop or anything. Looks like he will commit here. Is pushing forward, making sure that second one doesn't finish. Stalker is already on top of the Liberator, firing on one, and will need to back off before the second. Kills the SCV and cancels that second bunker as the third Immortal comes out now. Now this is looking pretty desperate here for PracticeX. That tank needs to siege up. That is going to be very key to keep that alive for him. Mcanning might have enough just to brute force this here in just a second. That Immortal on the left side there trying to go straight for that tank. A little bit greedy there from him. The Liberator does go down here. The bunker will be soon to follow once he regens some shield here. Not quite enough tanks to hold this off. That one tank still alive for now. Calling in a mule to get the repair, as he only has that one SCV currently. Building an engineering bay at the front. Not really sure what that's about. Now, tank coming, more tanks coming out here. Not quite ready just yet. It looks like he is going to commit here for another push. Going to go ahead and push on in here. That third Immortal wasn't quite ready yet. First tank will go down. Second tank getting saved by some very nice medevac micro there. Oh, and the Immortals are actually auto-firing the engineering bay. I guess that's what it's for. Oh, the second Immortal goes down, and the third Immortal walks forward, does finish off the tank, and is now being forced to back off here as these Stalkers are doing all they can to go ahead and kill as many of these as can, picking off the engineering bay now. And he does walk forward a little bit too far there. Bunker doing some nice work. More and more tanks building up here. And he's building another engineering bay at the front here. Just very annoying here. Trying to punish him for a attack moving. Very scary situation here. It could go either way on a whim. Looks like Mcanning going to march forward here. Try and take down that tank to start off with. Takes down the medevac as well. But the tank got so many shots off before it died. So many Stalkers just died there. And more Warplanes coming in on the high ground now. But the second tank is here now. And there's still only the one Immortal. Mcanning doesn't quite have the income he needs to make a second one right now. And this is such a close fight here. Stalkers doing all they can to keep this alive. Liberators keeping it safe, keeping it free over there. Second Immortal about to pop out now. And the bunker does get canceled there. 3 bunkers now, and the siege tank, and a Liberator. This is a very difficult hold here for Mcanning. I don't think he has enough to commit to this. I think if he commits to this, he's going to lose a lot of units here, especially with that second tank coming out. Alright, he will lose those 3 deaths, but he realizes his sin, and he does back off. More and more army coming out here. 38 army supply to 26. PracticeX looking like in a very good spot right now. Bunkers getting filled up, and this is such a hard contain to break. Such a close fight. He's holding for now, and neither player can really advance right now. PracticeX is going to be slowly advancing this battle line, boosting forward. The high ground not quite enough, and the high ground vision from that medevac going to allow the tanks to do all they can to take this out. And this pylon, the low ground, has now been taken by PracticeX, and Mcanning getting forced back into his base now. Warp Prism on the way here, going to be trying to get around this contain and do some damage to the back line of these tanks, which I think is really his only hope here. Another tech lab getting added on to one of his structures as these Liberators continue to advance here. Tanks getting picked off there by the Immortal drop. Well played there. If he can keep doing that and keep keeping these reinforcements away, he'll be in a very decent spot here. Now, PracticeX realizes what's going on and is trying to push up the ramp here. He's advancing, but Mcanning is forced back by these tanks. Not quite able to get the force fields off, as the Immortals over there are continuing to pressure. Pylons now getting focused down here as the Warp Prism comes back around. Might be able to get a few pickoffs on these tanks over here. Right now, the army is super spread out for Mcanning. Is able to actually find a little window there where he's able to get the shots off onto the Liberator. That's good for him. Picks off one as the Warp Prism comes back around on the backside here. The army for PracticeX is very clumped up here, so it's a very hard nut to crack. Cybernetics Core getting focused down now. That is not what you need right now if you're Mcanning. Immortals on the backside do take off the bunker and now are advancing forward here. Just trying to apply a little bit more pressure on the backside here, trying to force them to focus down multiple fronts. The Cybernetics Core has died, so it is only Zealots and Immortals here to hold this for Mcanning. Mcanning trying to get some work done with these Immortals in this Warp Prism, but he's just slowly getting picked off. Loses that Assimilator, loses the Pylon here in just a second, loses one of his gate powers. Oh, and that Immortal almost dies. Good micro there from Mcanning, keeping it alive. He's down to only 8 workers needed to fully saturate this base. Cloaked Banshees is on the way now. And this is looking like quite the build order here from PracticeX. Very nice execution here. And he's just slowly whittling away at these gateways now. Cyclones moving up here along with a lot of tanks. And this might be the nail in the coffin here. He will be able to push up this ramp here in just a second. Mcanning trying to commit to pushing it back, but the tank's getting so much work done right now. Continuing to work off this gateway. And the tanks have now come on the high ground. More and more coming up here. The Immortals pick off one in the back, and that's good. But it's not quite enough just yet. Scan comes through, and now the Bio moving forward here alongside the tanks. And they are pushing this army back into the back corner of this base for Mcanning and PracticeX, looking to seal the deal. And it is a huge fight here. The Immortals on the backside trying to do what they can. Looks like they will get picked off, though. Raven not quite dying there. The Banshee doing a lot of work here. Does die just before Cloak is done, but there's so much bio here. It's just not quite enough. GG. PracticeX defeats Mcanning 2-1 and will advance in this bracket. Very well played. Well done. Just really shows what a good understanding he has of those build orders he likes to use. You know, keeps them contained, and then he just kept the pressure on and kept closing in, just making the walls get tighter and tighter around Mcanning's base, and eventually sealed the deal. We will be going into the next set of PracticeX versus Test